Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and yes, we're going off on another Kamen Rider related tangent, which I did warn you about, so you've all been given fair notice. But today, we're going to take a look at the granddaddy of all of the form-changing shenanigans that currently seem to exist with all modern tokusatsu stuff, and that is good old Kamen Rider Kuuga, played by Odagiri Joe when he was nobody when it came to acting. My wife really likes him, so I have to hear about him all the time. Anyway, interesting thing about this box, first of all, is you have Kuuga in both his Titan form and his Rising Titan form. So Kuuga was the first to really go crazy with the color changing. Yeah, Kamen Rider Super 1 kind of had it with his various gauntlets and gimmicks. But Kuuga back in 2000, I think? 2001, somewhere around there. It's the turn of the century, I know that. He was the first to really get all these different forms with all the different weapons, and that's kind of become a mainstay of the series since. But not only did he get the weapons, he got upgraded versions as well before he got his final Super Evolution version, as is always the case with these kinds of shows. So you can see he's got his regular silver armor, purple, one sword, but then he gets two big giant swords, and I thought more of his helmet changed. I guess I'm wrong, but he gets a more fancier chest plate as well. Interesting thing is, you'll see that everything is both in English and Japanese. So at least Bandai is getting smarter about the fact that they have, you know, fans all over the world. Showing you a little bit about what everything he can do there. So you can see here the various versions of him, basic, upgraded. And there's going to be a stand included as well. So that's always nice. Gold parts could be attached. Do they go into when the show actually aired? No. I forgot about that. He can only turn into the rising form for 30 seconds. Maybe that's a whole other rabbit hole to dig ourselves into. So we'll save that for another day. So they're not kidding. Right off the bat, check that out. Nice, shiny, foam-plated parts. Which also means probably a lot of undercuts. That's okay. Nice, bright purple parts. You can't ever complain about Kamen Rider stuff being dull to look at. And I just noticed they even have the Grongi language inscribed upon his armor there. That's a nice little touch. And on the belt part. Stickers. Not too many, but I mean, I'm getting to the point I've built so many various Kamen Rider things, especially like the little gimmicky supermarket stuff. I've kind of gotten into enjoying putting those stickers on, which is bizarre, but yeah, they're there. Okay, most of the body parts, we've got some clear pieces, colored pieces for the eyes, translucent purple. I don't know what that is. It's like a footprint or something. Good old henshin belt. There's stuff for henshin belts? I don't even know. More shiny bits. Armory bits. Stand bits in various backs of hands. And finally, the instructions. Save that. Supposedly my son said he was going to put this one together. I don't know if I'll let him. And he must have been looking at this, because instructions have been fondled. Somebody's been looking at my instructions. Somebody's been... Okay. Sorry. So again, we see everything about it. All the action poses. I don't see anything with that weird puddle base for his feet. I don't know where that's going to go. Everything is completely bilingual. We have that opening flap in color, whereas everything else is going to be black and white. Still don't see that weird puddle thing. One thing I don't know if I ever point out is these guys do usually have like a nice flexible front of the foot. The name of the parts escape me of the body. Toes? Toe joint? I don't know. heel. That's not the heel. I don't know. Ball of the foot joint? Anyway. Most of the Figurerise stuff is pretty standard at this point outside of just the various color variations and things. So, I mean, I don't want to say if you've built one, you built them all, but there is a lot of familiarity and similarities between the various Kamen Rider stuff. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen any actual Sentai kits or more villains. That's what I would love. The villains always have the craziest designs. And if you don't believe me, go take a look at those videos I've put up before on the design books, somewhere in our Obscurities and Literature set of videos. But anyway, I'm looking forward to get this put together. We'll see if the kid actually does it. Hopefully he doesn't, so that means more for me. And we will see those results soon enough. So sit tight. Okay, we got Kuuga put together in his Rising Titan mode. So you'll see he's nice and shiny and gold, and this is how I found him the other day when I was getting ready to film him, because somebody keeps manhandling all of my Kamen Riders. Can't even see his swords all the way on the camera. So, for the most part, everything is nice and, you know, flexible in terms of joints. It's nice and posable. The only thing I really don't like is the wrist. There's no real lateral movements. It's just turning side to side, and that's about it. So, to get him into his pose that he usually is in his Mighty Titan mode, where he has his swords crossed like this, is kind of a challenge because his hands don't really want to cooperate. Now, if you don't like him in the Rising Titan mode, that's not a big deal. You'll see here the tips of his sword actually just pop off. And the whole display base comes apart. So you can see here the Grongi language all over his sword. And the blade actually slides out. Pop! Just like in the show, and it's got some really obnoxious stickers, which you can barely see. And man, what did I do to my fingernail? Yikes! I don't know. that's news to me. I did not see that earlier. My apologies. So I'm just going to keep him like this. I mean, obviously it's posable enough. His shoulder pads are quite flexible as well. He doesn't see the hands don't really like to cooperate holding those swords. They just want to flop off. And there's actually a variety of hands included. Now, Kuuga being the first of the Kamen Rider heroes to start having all of the various forms, of which I believe they've released figures for most of them, except for his ultimate form. I feel like these are Titan. Maybe I don't even remember. If you don't want that and you want to have his basic sword form, you do have those parts included as I hurl them across the table. The silver shoulder pads, the silver gauntlets. I want to say there are variant kneecaps, and then you have a variant belt as well. But unfortunately, that requires swapping everything out, which I'm not a big fan of, and there's also silver versions of all the hands. So I'm not super keen on that. He's going to be staying in Rising Titan mode. And more than likely, I'm not going to see him again after this video is filmed. For whatever reason, Kamen Rider Black is the only Kamen Rider that seems to be able to stay on this table. And I know my kid keeps coming in here searching for this stuff. So I have to keep a good eye on it. If you're curious how big they are, here is a typical 1/144th scale Gundam kit. HG RX-78. So you can see they're a good head or two taller than their mechanical counterparts. And if you have any of the 30-minute missions or 30-minute sister figures, of which this is a sister, not a mission figure, because the mission figures tend to be completely mechanized robots, whereas the sisters are actually little girl things. Yeah, things. That's the I don't know if they're supposed to be robots or androids or synthetic humans. I don't know. I don't care. But they're fun little kits to build. My point being that, you know, there's enough variance here. You get, I feel like, a good sized kit for the price. Just be aware of the fact that there's a lot of stickers involved in all of the equipment that's included. Granted, it's not as bad as some of those candy toy figures you'll find in the supermarket. Now, those are some hardcore experiences. But overall, you're... Do you see what I mean about those hands? They just don't cooperate very well. Luckily, I have another one nearby. It's Punchy Fist. But, you know, I think Kuuga was the first of the modern writers that I really watched to completion, so 20-something years ago. My God. So it is kind of cool to have him on the table, ready to go, defeating evil. Now, if somebody ever wanted to get around to making, you know, tabletop-sized miniatures of this stuff, I would be ecstatic. I keep talking to my kid who's actually learning Blender, and he never wants to get around to doing it. So if somebody beats him to the punch, I'm not going to feel bad. Because, look, that's a little bit of a difference in terms of playing around with tabletop sizes. So hopefully, someday soon, my wishes will be granted. But in the meantime, I've got a nice model kit from Bandai with way too many stickers in obnoxious places. So, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!